And the people behind him that you just mentioned so far doing a very good job in his career. It's been 1 year since Barrio has been in the ring. That should affect him early. The timing, a little bit of rust. If it shows up, it will show up in early rounds.
I want to talk to you about something else that may show up. You've been traveling back and forth to Russia a bit with your heavyweight, Alexander Povetkin, who you train, one of the top heavyweights in the world. But Husanov, when we spoke to him yesterday, he talked about his travel this week, and he lives all the way in Siberia. And you know what that flight's like, and we're now here on the west coast of the United States. So he arrived here on Tuesday. He left Russia on Sunday morning over there, flew from Siberia, Moscow, then Moscow to Washington, D.C., then to Denver, then here to Spokane. He left Russia, Siberia Sunday morning over there, got here Tuesday afternoon.
Not enough time to acclimate unless you have the right opponent in front of you. I'm sure that they wouldn't be doing that if they were fighting a higher echelon opponent. Taking nothing away from Barrio, but he has been knocked out 2 times, and I expect it to become 3, even with that long trip. But you're right, to acclimate to that kind of traveling, usually you want 2 weeks. But again, his people know what they're doing, and they also know, more importantly, what they have in front of them. They have a slow, plodding fighter in Barrio that's right there, sometimes for target practice. So you can catch Barrio 2 ways. Usually with most opponents, you want to create your offense, use your jab, set something up on the front end. But with Barrio, you can let him create it for you. Step out, use your legs a little bit, change your distance, let him reach in a little bit, let him throw something wide where it creates an opportunity for you, like right there. You can punch inside those shots of Barrio.
Good, sharp, accurate right hand from Husanov.
A lot of opportunities for Husanov on the inside with straight punches, and then later on maybe on the outside where he can get Barrio to reach out a little bit and leave himself lunging.
Nice pace being set in this first round by both men. Very active opening round for a 10-rounder.
First fight for both of these fighters in the United States.
See Husanov just seemingly waiting to time Barrio, as you talked about how he opens up.
Barrio has lost 2 of his last 4.
So we're coming to the end of round number 1. Our first chance to get a good look at the unbeaten Sherzod Husanov. More to come.
Barrio gets hit with right hands, and Husanov proved it. Throws the right hand over the slow jab there. Now's another one over the slow jab, and again catching Barrio going straight back. And
let's go.
There were a couple other shots in there too, just believe me. A lot of clean right hands for Husanov, and a nice clean round in the books, 10-9, at least on my scorecard, for the undefeated fighter from Russia.
Yep, 7-time national amateur champ when he was growing up in Uzbekistan. Late start to his pro career, but a good-looking, fine emerging pro here at 30 years old.
Looks to me like Husanov's looking for that right hand again. Maybe touch downstairs a little bit and then go upstairs.
Just a swarming attack, and Barrio just tries to wrap up Husanov's head with that left hand, gets the warning from Bobby Howard.
Husanov a little over anxious.
No luce, no luce.
Taking it into the pits with Barrio. The only place Barrio can fight is in the pit. So if I'm Husanov, maybe, not that you can't get it done there, Joe, but maybe I take it on the outside where Barrio has no chance, where Barrio will reach, leave himself open, maybe for a real clean shot and a clear and a very clean ending. Like right there. That's what I'd be looking to do, as we talked about in the fight plan, using the legs to change distance, to get Barrio to help out a little bit, to reach in and leave himself open. But there are choices there for Husanov, and he shows that. He can go inside, and he figures, I can punch inside the wide shots of Barrio, or he can go outside.
NASCAR Nationwide Series. Saturday, ESPN2 at 3 Eastern. Coverage, of course, starts with NASCAR Countdown, presented by Hellman's.
Anytime you see Hussanov jab to the body, to me, that means he's thinking afterwards to come upstairs. That's a distraction punch. Not a punch looking to do a lot of damage and have a lot of effect, but a punch looking to set up something else. Hussanov gets into the wheelhouse of Barrio. He figures he's safe inside in that chamber there because, again, his punch is a little straighter, a little shorter.
Break. Excuse me, no más déjala.
Right hand from Barrio. So coming to the end of round 2 in our main event, Barrio and Hussanov. On behalf of the entire Friday Night family, we send our deepest sympathies to our longtime producer, Rob Biner, and his family. Rob's loving wife, Judy, passed away this week. In Rob's own words, he said of Judy, she epitomized kindness, compassion, and beauty.
Judy was a special person. She worked with special needs children, and she could look past all the negative, sad, and bad in any situation or in anyone and remind you of the good. Not because she had a PhD or a degree in any of those things, but simply just because she was truly pure of heart. She loved people and life, and she will continue living through her special children, Josh and Holly, and her husband, and through all of our memories of her. Rest in peace, Judy. You were a tremendous person, and I think the term was meant for you when people said she's a good soul.
Well said, Teddy. It's been obviously a challenging week for Biner family and everybody involved in Friday Night Fights. Deepest sympathies go out to the Biner family.
No wrestling, let's go. Box
Round 3 here between Barrio and Hussanov. Hussanov a little slower here in this round in terms of his punch rate and activity than what we saw in the first 2. Now he picks up the pace here.
No, go behind the data.
Again,
Break.
You know, I'm going to use a very graphic term. I'm thinking about movies every once in a while, and I think of The Gladiator with Russell Crowe, where he said to his possible executioner, give me a clean kill. And here, for a clean victory or a clean knockout, I think there's a possibility for Hussanov, but I don't think it comes necessarily in the grid. You know, in the trenches that he's doing right now with Barrio. I think the clean kill, the clean knockout, if there is to be one, would come on the outside. There's one on the inside, but I think if there's a little space, you can get Barrio to leave himself wide open for a clean shot. And right now, Hussanov not giving him that space.
Break.
I just think Barrio's the kind of guy that you kind of tempt to help you. You know, you kind of convince him to lay himself out there in an open way where you can get to him. And if you give him space, he will bite at that temptation. Right now, Hussanov not giving him space.
There was a right hand that came over the top by Hussanov, but he didn't get it clean.
Little bit too much arm in the punches right now of Hussanov, to be quite honest. If we would sit down on those right hands and put a left hook behind it, maybe he gets out of here early.
Yeah, he looked more like Barrio here in the final minute.
On the inside, this is one of the problems when you're in the territory of Barrio. A little holding there by Barrio behind the head of Hussanov. He's looking to hold him and hit him, and he almost did it. Not quite, but if I'm Hussanov, that's another one of the reasons why maybe I'm not setting up camp always on the inside, the territory of Barrio. I'm going outside, as I said earlier and suggested earlier, and get Barrio to leave himself open a little.
Yeah, why give him the opportunity with where he wants things to be when he looks like he'd be so easy to pick apart with these wide shots if you're out at range. Let's look at the CompuBox statistics from round number 3. Hussanov an 18-14 connect advantage, but Barrio throwing 82.
See, that time Barrio came in, did a better job, brought his feet. He didn't let his arms get ahead of his legs. He didn't let his upper body go before his lower body. And therefore, he didn't leave himself wide open. Did another good job of bringing his legs with him. He doesn't always do that. I think part of the reason why he's doing a better job of it is because Hussanov is setting up right in front of him, not giving him the space to make it difficult, to make a mistake.
AL-NL Showdown continues. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Manny's back. Dodgers, Red Sox, 8 Eastern. And then Monday Night Baseball presented by Sears Lawn and Garden. Yanks and Diamondbacks at 10 Eastern. Both games are part of the AL-NL Showdown presented by State Farm. Also available on ESPN3.com.
The Red Sox did not put out the red carpet for Manny's return tonight. They gave them a little spanking. The Red Sox did, beating the Dodgers tonight. And right now, Hussanov should give Barrio a little spanking, and if he's going to try to give him a spanking, again, it should be on the outside, and he should use the jab. Barrio's not going to use the jab. Everything he throws is going to be hard and usually a looping round punch. It's up to Hussanov to use that jab and maybe separate himself with that jab. Much better round this round for Barrio.
Come on, guys, boxeo, fight at it, There you go.
See, we mentioned early, Joe, you know, Hussanov might beat Barrio anywhere, outside, inside. That time he gave a little space, created some room for some counter punches.
Break.
But if you're going to fight Barrio on the inside, well, that's his territory. That's where he's going to be the best he can be.
Hussanov landed both a left and a right, and Barrio just kept coming forward. A very determined game effort from the South Americans as they take it to the bell fighting.
I don't know if Hussanov was listening to us, but we were talking about using his legs, stepping out, giving a little room to Barrio to create space and let him make mistakes. And that's exactly what you see here. Hussanov stepping back, giving space and room to Barrio, letting him miss a little bit and creating holes that he was trying to fill with counter punches.
Sherzod Hussanov in the solid blue, a two-time Olympian for Uzbekistan, 9-0-1 as a pro. Late start to his pro career. This is the U.S. debut for both fighters.
Who's winning the jab contest? That's what I want to know.
Well, let's look at the CompuBox statistics. Right on cue, Teddy, for you. Hussanov 28-10 connect advantage, but Barrio throwing more, throwing 114.
Again, Barrio, I think I could out-jab him from my seat over here because for the most part, he's not thinking jab. You know, to him, that's like thinking French fries when somebody else is thinking hamburger. And Barrio's always thinking hamburger. He's thinking about the big meal, the big whopper, and the big looping shot.
The right hand from Barrio. Hussanov comes right back. And then Hussanov throws a freewheeling, windmilling right hand of his own off balance.
Again, two ways to go. Hussanov, I think, should choose the second way.
Don't wrestle.
The back end way. The front end way is to go inside and get your offense. The back end way is to step out on the back end. Allow Barrio to reach in.
Break.
Barrio landed a couple of punches there on that last offensive assault.
Yeah, Barrio's the kind of guy, you know, if he goes to a restaurant, he doesn't look for the appetizer.
Nope.
You know, he's not looking for the starter.
He's got a steak knife in his hand.
Yeah,
right
he's
away.
looking for the entree.
He wants to get that wild right hand to connect.
I'm not even sure he's using a knife and fork.
No, it's just savagery, just picking up the steak, digging right into it.
And that's why the jab of Hussanov could be so effective, but a jab that has not been used quite enough.
It's a right hand by Hussanov, as there's not much defensive posture from Barrio after he throws his punches.
You know, something we might not be thinking about right now, Barrio's had a couple good rounds the last couple rounds.
After the first two, he's been more the aggressor and more confident.
That you first touched on.
Yep.
It might be the travel. The travel of Hussanov might be starting to bother him.
Well, second half of the fight set to come, so let's see how it plays out. Stay with us.
Here's a couple of the class of 2010 Hall of Fame inductees. Danny Indy Red Lopez, one of my favorite guys. I used to watch him on television all the time. You know, he'd be getting beat by a lot of guys that maybe were better in certain dimensions, but he was tougher, and his right hand would get across. Lloyd Marshall, all I want to ask the people in the committee there that put people into the Hall of Fame is, what took you so long? I mean, this is a guy who beat the great Ezra Charles. This is a guy who beat Jake LaMotta. This was one of the great fighters who never got a title shot because he was black. He was part of the Black Murderers Row. Why did it take you so long to get him in there? But thank God you did. And for Rocky Kansas, 170 fights, only stopped 3 times. They called him Little Hercules. Fought all the top fighters, even guys like the great Benny Lennon. What a chin on Rocky Kansas. Not a bad class going into the Hall of Fame.
It's so interesting when you start comparing fighters of different eras, because the old-timers and the veterans, I mean, statistically and resume-wise, nothing will ever come close to what those guys did.
No, nothing. And there will never be another generation of people like them. And as you said, never another time that was so conducive to great boxing. I mean, those guys fought every week.
Yep. Round 6 here. Teddy's scorecard between Barrio and Hussanov, 48-47. And you noted, Teddy, that the early goings, I mean, Hussanov, it looked clear-cut. This is going to be an easy night for him. But Barrio has come on. He's gained some confidence as things have gone on. And you know, to that point, Teddy, I just want to bring this up. And Alan Green, Andre Ward tomorrow is part of the Super 6 tournament. It's a great fight. Great fight. But to your point, when we look at the old-timers coming off Hall of Fame weekend where guys would fight every week, how much better would a tournament be in boxing if they fought with more frequency? Because that's what makes a sports tournament great, like the NCAA March Madness. When you play on Thursday, you play on Saturday, you play the next Thursday, you play the next Saturday. That frequency and that momentum gaining is what makes a sports tournament. When a sports tournament takes 2 years, 3 years to conduct itself, it's not really a tournament.
No, it would be better for the fans, is what you're saying, and it would be. And it would be better for the sport. And it would be better for the fighters, because the more often they get in the ring, the sharper they are, the calmer they are, the better they are. And right now, it looks like the guy getting better is Barrio. He's coming forward the way he does, with wide shots, nothing fancy, in a plodding, one-dimensional way, but it's paying off for him against Hussanov, who's standing right in front of him. Every once in a while, he gets a little space, and he gets a right hand in. But I'm starting to wonder what you brought up at the beginning, Joe.
The travel.
That travel, that's a long, long trip that Hussanov took, and he didn't have much time to acclimate, and he might be paying a price right about now.
Because Barrio just keeps coming and coming and coming and gaining confidence as the fight moves on. Starting to get interesting here with the unbeaten Hussanov being tested by John Barrio. Stay with us. Friday night fights will be back on July 2nd, a special start time of 11 o'clock. We're going to be out in Ontario, California. Demetrius Hopkins, Mike Arnaudis. 2 guys that we've seen a lot of through the years, established veterans. They're going to be fighting at welterweight. Demetrius Hopkins Mike Arnaudis, July 2nd, 11 o'clock Eastern start time.
That's the ticket.
Box.
Hussanov, a little space.
Break.
Creating an opening that Barrio was more than pleased to give him.
Punches in round 6. Let's see Barrio coming on a bit.
See, that's what makes for tough scoring. There's no doubt Barrio the busier guy, and the tide was going in his direction the last round, the last couple rounds, but I thought Hussanov landed the cleaner punches the last round.
And here a minute into round 7, it was Barrio's right hand that got everyone's attention. And look at Hussanov fighting right off the ropes, back to the center of the ring.
I think Hussanov is under duress and in a little bit of distress from that travel. I really do. And right now, he's not thinking about anything other than just digging down and being a fighter.
Well, let's go through it one more time for you. He's from Nizhny Tagil, Russia. That is 2.5 hours by plane from Moscow. He had to drive an hour to the airport, fly 2.5 hours to Moscow, then go to Washington, D.C., then go to Denver, then come here to Spokane. He woke up Sunday morning and started traveling in Siberia. Their time arrived here in Spokane Tuesday afternoon for a Friday fight.
And he's paying the price, or part of that price right now. Taking nothing away from the effort of Barrio. But let's put things in perspective when I say, and I said that I thought Hussanov should separate himself if he is truly going to be thought of as a prospect and contender. Barrio, of his 15 wins, only 3 of them have come with fighters with a winning record. All but 2 of his fights have been in Colombia, and he lost the 2 that were not.
But every time we get these Colombian fighters, Teddy, that make their U.S. debut, it's like a grab bag. You never know what you're going to get. Really, I mean, there have been so many times where we've had these straight-ahead pressure-fighting Colombians where, you know, sometimes you're greatly disappointed, other times you're stunned by what you see.
Can't be disappointed by the effort of Barrio.
No, he's been very game. 3 to go.
All right, what do you do when someone has you trapped on the ropes? Well, one of the things you can do, Hussanov does, punch a little bit right here and back him up, and then go around. Just watch as Hussanov does that right here. Back him up a little bit, throw some punches, get him off you a little bit, get a little space, and then go around them and get yourself into a position where you can do some boxing.
3 rounds to go here in what's been an entertaining main event. Hussanov unbeaten. Had a solid amateur career, a 2-time Olympian, lands a right hand there. Barrio, hard-charging South American, looking for a second chance with a 15-6 record, making his U.S. debut. 68-65, says Teddy, for the Russian. But both men seeming to tire a bit late. Who knows how this will play out?
This could be controversial. There's no doubt in my mind. If this goes the way it seems to be going, down to the wire, down to a decision, because a lot of these rounds very close. The pressure, the activity of Barrio, the determination head-on of Barrio against sometimes the cleaner punching of Hussanov.
Hussanov more accurate, more effective, cleaner punching, and you look at the CompuBox statistics and you see the work rate, what you detail, Teddy, 493 punches thrown by Barrio. So that's the great debate that the judges have to deal with. As you see, Hussanov just following Barrio straight back and connecting with headshots and 2 short right hands to the side of the head.
And Barrio's been knocked out twice, and it could be 3 if Hussanov puts the left hook with the right hand that he doesn't have a lot of trouble of landing. The power punch you probably have to worry about with Barrio would be the left hook, because naturally he's a left-hander. That is his dominant side. There's the reach in by Barrio, Joe. You're always going to get that when there's space. And again, if I'm in Husanov's corner, I'm telling him, get that space so you get Barrio to reach in. I'm surprised Husanov has not used angles, has not gone to the side of Barrio, because for
and he catches him that time, sends him off balance. Barrio stays on his feet, punches back, looks to tie up.
That's good. Yeah, I'll draw a little bit. Right here, you can see those square feet. No balance, reaches in, does Barrio. And when there's a little bit of space, as you see right there, Husanov has plenty of opportunities to go picking fruit from the tree.
6 minutes remain here in our main event. Husanov trying to stay unbeaten. So he fights for national pride, wants to prove something to his people, to his country, to his family. A two-time Olympian, a late blossoming pro, 30 years old, and a 9-0-1 record. There's a left hand by Barrio as they both opened up. And now Barrio taking it to the inside before Husanov ties up, separated by referee Bobby Howard.
Win or lose, and I think Husanov will wind up being a class here tonight, unless something amazing happens. But I bet you his people don't take that long trip on a couple days' notice to come here to fight anymore.
It's a thudding right hand by Barrio. Husanov was able to fight his way off the ropes last time. Barrio comes trying to split the guard with a right hand. Then he turns the tables. Left hook comes in from Husanov. Barrio looks to tie up as it's getting a little chippy in there, a little rough against the ropes.
These are the spots where Husanov, if he can put a left hook, set his feet, and put a left hook with that right hand, maybe he gets a knockout or at least a trip to the canvas by Barrio.
Let go of that arm. Let go. Let go. Box. Come on, guys. Box out of it. Great.
Boxing in the blood and in the family of Husanov. His father and one of his brothers were fighters. 310 amateur fights for Husanov.
Started at 12 years old. Barrio's wide open coming forward right now.
You know, it should be said that the people with Husanov claim that he actually has 5 more wins than are represented on his record, but those wins took place in 2007 in Uzbekistan, and Fight Facts, who we use, do not have a recording from the commissions, so they cannot put those fights down as official.
Obviously, the fights need to be recorded by a local commission, need to be verified, and there has to be uniformity throughout the sport to help with that. We list him as having 9 fights in Russia, 1 in Portugal, and this his debut in the United States. 1 round to go here between Husanov and Barrios to come to the...
This is how you land a clean shot of your Husanov. You give a little space here, so this man right here can reach a little bit, and then you can land right here. Take a look, a little bit of space here, a little bit of a reach in, and a right hand, maybe a right forearm.
Yeah, that was like
right
Conrad Dobler playing for the Rams.
that was a bit of a forearm or right shiv, elbow to the side of the face.
10th and final round. Let's look at Teddy's scorecard and what's been a fairly interesting fight. 88-83 Husanov. But as you noted, in many of these middle rounds, Teddy, we saw the aggressiveness and the work rate of Barrio compared to the accuracy and effectiveness of Sherzod. So it depends on how judges saw many of those middle rounds. Personally, I don't think there's any doubt that Husanov has controlled the fight.
Especially the last couple rounds with just simply his more effective, cleaner punching. He has shaken Barrio several times. But the problem with it is, one, Barrio has shown a stout chin and a stout heart, but the other is Husano has shaken him with one shot at a time. He's never really put two together yet.
Don't push him, don't push. Go ahead.
Husanov trying to work underneath, and then he gets him off balance and lands a clean right hand.
Now again, he's got Barrio hurt a little bit here, but he has to put the second punch together, not the one.
Come on, guys. You're caught over the rope.
See some swelling around the right eye of Barrio.
And under the left eye, too. He's been taking a lot of clean shots, but again, one shot at a time. I still think Husanov can get a knockout, even with 1:12 left in the last round, if he gets a little space and puts the hook with the right hand. Or even the right hand with the hook.
Yep, he reversed it that time. Head hunting here. Good action here in this final minute. That was to the back of the head because Barrio was leaning out the right door. Good stuff on the inside from Husanov. Barrio off balance again. A rugged 10th round here.
Still a chance for a knockout for Husanov, even with half a minute left.
Wobbly legs from Barrio. He has given a lot tonight. Still coming forward here. See if Husanov fires off with him there, leaning on the inside.
Great.
Final 10 seconds coming up. Strong effort from both men. Another right hand lands on the inside as Barrio just hangs on to the end. Husanov came in, clearly the more skilled, the more established guy, 9-0-1, but Barrio gave a good, strong effort. We will hear from the judges when we return to Friday Night Fights. ESPN Friday Night Fights presented by Cerveza Tecate con Carácter and in part by Pizza Hut. All your favorites for unbelievably low prices. And by Castrol GTX High Mileage, because the longer your engine lasts, the more it pays you back. Spokane Falls. That was home to Teddy Atlas's fight plan. A fight plan that was well devised for both men, and it went the distance between John Barrio and Sherzod Husanov. Let's take a look at our punch of the night, brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Maxime Vlasov, right hand against Jerson Ravello, Teddy.
And that's all she wrote. The jab sets it up, takes the vision away from Ravello, and the right hand takes the consciousness away from Ravello.
By the way, Maxime Vlasov is now 18-0. Let's wrap up the other undefeated Russian fighter's effort tonight. Final punch stats according to CompuBox between Husanov and Barrio. Barrio threw more, 653. Husanov landed more, 210. Teddy's scorecard. Early rounds to Husanov. Barrio looked good in some of the middle rounds, but then Husanov came on strong in the end. We send it up to the ring to Mike Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the main event of the evening, we'll go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Alan Krebs scores the bout 95-95. He sees the fight even. His score, however, overruled by judges Glenn Hamada, who sees it 98-92, and Dan Vassar, who scores it 96-94 for the winner by majority decision. And still undefeated, the Lion, Sherzod Husanov.
Teddy, we saw that coming because of what we talked about in those middle rounds, that there would possibly be a judge that would just give the work rate, effort, and aggression of Barrio probably more credit than it deserved.
Yeah, I actually mentioned early on that we might get a little bit of a controversial scoring, and we did get it. But maybe that judge took a long trip, too. He needs a little sleep.
Bottom line is Sherzod Husanov wins a majority decision. He moves his mark now to 10-0-1. Surely we will see more of him down the road, and in a couple weeks we're going to be back with you with Friday Night Fights. Demetrius Hopkins, Mike Arnautis. For now, here's BK.